So you know how it is. You've got more than enough figures. Don't need anything else. My armies are complete, my forces are complete. And then you're browsing online, or perhaps you've gone into a shop somewhere and you see something nice and you think, yeah, actually I could find a space for that. And before you know it, your paint pile has quadrupled in size. Yes, today on Dragon's Teeth, we're talking about shops and shopping. Hi, I'm Rob Hoyt, and thanks very much for joining me today on Dragon's Teeth, where, as you may surmise, I've been shopping. It's not enough that I've been up to Partisan and I've been to Chaosium Con, one or two other conventions. There's still this need to buy figures. And as I mentioned, from two sources. One is online. I saw a very nice photo on Facebook of some new Musketeer figures that I just had to have. I really do enjoy Musketeer type games. We used to play Flashing Blades back in the day, the old 80s RPG. Tremendous fun, still have some of those figures, but I thought these would fit nicely into my We Want the Gold rule set, my skirmish set, because in the near future, hopefully later this year, I'm going to be bringing out volume 2 of that, which is not a fantasy setting so much, but a historical setting, including the Musketeer era into the classic Gothic Victorian era, and then, of course, up into modern times, 20th century onwards, specifically looking at the Cthulhu mythos. So I need figures for that. I also need figures because I'm going to be putting on some demo games over the next few months, including Hereward, and that is going to be an Escape from Innsmouth scenario, but set in the 1920s. So of course I needed some gangsters, I needed some investigators, and let's be honest, you can never have too many deep ones, can you? That was online then. In the meantime, I've been out and about putting out flyers for the upcoming Innsmouth Literary Festival in September in Bedford, for which the link is down below. And in doing so, I discovered a new gaming shop that I never knew existed before. And funnily enough, it exists in a place called Hardwick, just outside of Cambridge, and I actually lived in Hardwick for a few years. So that was interesting going back there after, well, blimey, probably 15, getting on for 20 years ago. Doesn't time fly? So a great shop there. They're quite new. They have a good stock of Citadel paints, Warhammer miniatures. There's space there for gaming. They also run an exotic pet store at the back. It's kind of attached to that. And of course, I had to ask the obvious question, do you ever get the big lizard out to put on the table to end a game? And he says, well, it has been known. So as I say, check that out if you're in the Cambridge area. The second new shop I went to is someone known to me who I've mentioned on the channel before, our friend Brian at Empire Games. He was doing mail order before, though you were able to go up to his place to buy some stuff face to face kind of thing. But he has now got a unit it's one of these covered market type stores where everyone has a unit inside, and you just go to the till at the front to pay. And he's got again quite a small space, but really packed with lots of figures and rules, and especially what I was looking for at the time, speed paints. So I came away from both of those shops with a new box of paints, some speed paints from Empire and some Citadel paints as well. Because, of course, I've got new figures, so I need new paints. That's gaming logic, right? I've got 300 paints sitting over there, but new and shiny colours always attract the eye, especially speed paints. So let's take a look at the figures next. These are from North Star Miniatures then. These are the King's Musketeers. And I got the complete set. They were doing a special offer on the complete set. And I thought, well, there's no point in just buying one Musketeer, is there? You've got to have at least three. And these only arrived the other day, so I've not had a chance to undercoat them or clean them up or do anything. But very nice figures, nice detail. They are metal. The bases are a little thin, but then I generally always rebase anyway. And yeah, I'm not sure if these are going to be one whole unit of musketeers, or if I paint them up as separate factions for We Want the Gold, in which case some will be King's Musketeers, and I might paint some up as Cardinal's Guard as well, to give us, well, I can get 2 or 3 factions out of this group. So yeah, very pleased with those. Now, North Star Miniatures also do a nice range in pulp figures as well. In fact, I've got some of my Innsmouth figures from there before. And bearing in mind, I'm going to be running some 1920s based Innsmouth scenarios, I thought I needed some investigators. This pack caught my eye. These are Dangerous Dames 2. So there's 2 packs in this set. And as you can see, it's a group of female investigators, adventurers. They're going to need a little cleaning up, and again I'm going to have to base these, but nice set of figures, and again I've got enough there to make up a whole faction for We Want the Gold. Here's some figures I have started on, undercoated and begun to paint in some cases. Most of these are crooked dice and I got them at Partisan, but there are 1 or 2 others. The 2 ghouls you can see there, they're from Bad Squiddo. We have a mix here of 1920s gangsters and investigators, plus some Innsmouth residents, some Innsmouth denizens, a couple of classic horror figures as well, which I think I've actually put up before. The Phantom of the Opera lurking at the back there, as he is wont to do. There's a sort of mad Queen Victoria at the back there. I've got plans for her for the Gothic version of We Want the Gold. Dr. Fibes. I'm not sure what that one is with the funny armour and the big sword there. I think I just like the look of him, so I bought it. Not sure what it is or where it's from, but it looks interesting. Now, something I've seen on YouTube recently are a couple of uploads of people using these to paint. Sharpie Creative Markers. They're fine tip pens that give out acrylic. So acrylic markers, and I've seen have been using them for sort of fine work, for edging on things or patterns on clothing, that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to try these out, because if they work, I think I'll find it easier to do that sort of fine detail with a pen rather than a brush. I always find with a brush it's difficult sometimes to get the exact amount of paint right and that sort of thing, whereas a pen will hopefully prove a bit easier for fine detail. But I've got no idea if they're going to work yet. Online they seem to work okay on figures and going over acrylic paints, so I shall try these out and let you know. And here are the paints I bought at those 2 shops I mentioned, Albion and Empire Games. Army Painter speed paints in a range of interesting colours. Blood red, for example, Unforgiven green, and this particularly striking blue, Ocean Depths. That says air colour triad. I'm not even sure what that means. I'm not sure if that's a speed paint or not. I mean, do you remember it used to be tins of Humbrol and that's it? Khaki, white, black, blue. We're a bit spoilt these days for choice, aren't we? And then some Citadel Bone, rather nice yellow there, aerial yellow. I often find yellow is a difficult colour to get right, so it's nice to have some different shades. And just some contrast paints as well. I'll be experimenting with those. There we go then. It's quite a few figures to get painted, but I'm confident I can get those done over the next 5 years or so. And of course, I've still got figures, specifically some 10mm fantasy figures, yet to finish. They were in preparation for the Bane Wars campaign, which unfortunately ran out of steam, of course. I do still have some units to paint there. And I did see on the WhatsApp group, someone down at Bedford Gladiators is selling about 100 or so unpainted 10mm orcs for a good price, which I couldn't resist. So I'll be picking those up next week, hopefully. Something else to put in the to paint pile, but there we go. In the meantime, of course, the Innsmouth build continues. I have my lampposts now, courtesy of Nigel. I have some interesting little LED lights that we're trying to figure out how to use. The obvious thing will be to put them into buildings, but I'm investigating some other uses for those. And I found another possible method for making cobbled streets. using foam. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be trying that out next week. It involves a hairdryer and applying some heat. So I'm going to wait till it cools down a bit. I think it's up to about 35 today. And here in the shed, you can add about 20 onto that. At least it feels like it. And of course, I'll get some photos or footage up when all these figures are painted. In fact, I'll probably put them into the Innsmouth setting so you can see them in all their glory. All that to come. Please do stay tuned. Like, share and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'm very happy to hear your comments, questions and feedback. Particularly interested to hear if anyone has tried using those pens, how they worked out for you, and any tips, haha, no pun intended, also very welcome. That's it for now. I'll see you soon.